Hey there, it's been a while. Before we get into this video, I'd firstly like to apologize for it taking so long. In truth, this video has been finished for about a month now, and it should have been uploaded in December, but I got real sick over Christmas, and then after that, the conditions of my ADHD worsened, and it's pretty much brought my productivity to a full stop. So just keeping in mind, some of the information in this video might be a bit outdated. Like when I talk about the current medkit meta, that was literally just addressed in the dev update that was posted 5 minutes before I started working on this little disclaimer thing to put to the start of it. So yeah, forgive me if any of the perk information is different to what is in the current game by the time this comes out. And also, keep in mind that the script for this video was written just after the night came out. We've had quite a few changes since then. So yeah, I'd also like to add that this might be the last chapter concept that I make, at least for a while, just because they take so much time to make, and it's like 30 minutes of me talking, and it's like about a week worth of script writing, because I'm not the world's greatest script writer, it just takes up too much of my time, and I've still got like uni work, and I'm supposed to be doing that on top of this and streaming and maintaining what's left of my social life. So yeah, I'll be moving more towards shorter videos like build showcases and little clip compilations, stuff that is like fairly easy to make. It's not going to take up an entire month of my time when I'm supposed to be writing essays and putting sounds into games and uploading that for my tutors and yeah, I'm just putting that out there. It's not a full stop end to it. I will eventually come back to it because I have so many ideas that I've got written down, and it would just be a shame to see them all go to waste. Not to mention the fact that I have these ideas a lot. So there's a lot of stuff that I've got written down, and no doubt by the time I'm done with uni there'll be even more. So it's more like I'm just making a bank for things, really, of like both original and licensed chapter concepts. Yeah, they just take so much time, and I don't have time to make those, or at least not consistently. So I'm going to try with a schedule of like I said, build showcases, clip compilations, maybe update videos. I might do like little showcases on updates. That is going to be a little bit harder for me to do because I'm on console, so I don't have access to the PTV. But that doesn't mean I can't, read out patch notes and give my opinions on them, which I might start doing. We'll see. And also, you'll probably notice that my mic quality is different right now. I'm using the headset that I use for streaming because the cable for my microphone that I use for the video that you're about to watch is not working. I don't know why. I do have another cable like it at home, so I'm going to go and get that this weekend and all blah, 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 blah. You don't care. It's just a matter of, why do you sound different? I'm working on it. Alright, either it's going to sound better next video, or it'll be like this for a while, which would suck. So yeah, if I can't get it solved, then unfortunately it'll be headset mics one for a bit longer. I hope you can put up with that more so than I can, because Jesus. Alright, with that all out of the way, I hope you enjoy this chapter concept, because my god, its existence has taken its toll on me. And now, without further ado, here's me from 3 months ago. This video contains spoilers for The Boys. If you haven't already, go watch it. It's great. Hey there, I'm Swan, and in this Dead by Daylight chapter concept, we'll be delving into the world of The Boys. A world that asks bold questions such as, could superhumans function in our society? Is science going too far? Is it morally wrong to experiment on children? And what if Superman had mommy issues? All of these questions are answered by one character, the main antagonist of the show, Homelander. But before we get into that, I'm sure you're probably saying to yourself, but Swan, The Boys isn't even a horror series, Behavior would never do that. And while sure, it's not strictly a horror show, that doesn't mean it isn't terrifying in some places. It's a suspenseful thrill that keeps you on the edge, and while doing research for this video, I found this GameRant article that lists the 9 best developers that could nail a video game adaptation of The Boys, and Behavior Interactive is on that list. And here's a snippet of an interview Dexito did with Matthew Cote about future content that says, "We asked if Dead by Daylight could look outside of horror for its next character inspiration, to which Matthew Cote said, yes, of course. Though the shortlist is getting shorter, the range of options is wider than it's ever been. We've done comedy with Ash Williams, we've done anime with Attack on Titan. You'd be surprised to hear some of the conversations we're having right now. With this information in mind, I would be more surprised to find out that they don't have something like a chapter for the boys in the works, or at least in boardroom meetings, like talking points, stuff like that. So, with that out of the way, let's go over who our survivors are, since their names and perks are significantly less information than a killer's power, add-ons, and perks. When you're a regular human in a world full of superhumans, life comes at you fast. Or at least in Huey Campbell's case, a super junkie. And his girlfriend, just right through her body, parts and blood everywhere, it's disgusting. Obviously, something like that is going to change your life. After a lie and a push from Billy Butcher, Huey became hellbent on revenge, is probably what he would like to think. But the truth is, Huey got caught up in something much bigger than his girlfriend's cold-blooded murder. Corruption, conspiracy, and crazy soups who don't care about others are living their lives of injustice and sin unchecked, and Billy wants to put a stop to it. Huey's personal perks, Remote Bomb, Second Wind, and Blackmail allow him to bring justice to those on a power trip while accepting the fact that he is only human. Remote Bomb. For some reason, they put you in charge of holding this thing. After working on generators for 120 seconds, Remote Bomb activates. Entering a locker empty-handed allows you to craft a remote bomb and detonator. Pressing the item button will drop a remote bomb on the ground or attach it to an interactive object such as generators, lockers, pallets, etc. Pressing the item button again will set off the bomb, stunning the killer for 0.5, 1, or 1.5 seconds depending on the tier of the perk. It'll also apply the hindered status effect for 5 seconds. All survivors can see the aura of the bomb when it's placed.
Big lump of C4, pegged right up his fudger. Boom, claret everywhere. Fucking diabolical.
Obviously, this perk is referencing the second episode of The Boys, in which Translucent, the not-so-invisible man, is taken hostage and later killed using a remote bomb and detonator stuffed in a place you'd least want to see on any man, let alone an invisible one. I wanted this to be an anti-tunnel perk similar to Decisive Strike, but with elements of flashbang thrown in, so I decided to do just that. Obviously, if everyone runs this perk, it wouldn't be that fun for the killer if it was too oppressive. That's why the stun and hindered effect don't last too long. A cool feature of this perk is that it lets you attach the bomb to a generator, or the doors of a locker, or a pallet. That way, you can blast the killer if they let their guard down by kicking said gen, opening said locker, or breaking said pallet. It's the perfect opportunity to buy yourself or your teammates more time to get away, and the fact that other survivors can see the aura of the bomb makes for some pretty good setups. Second Wind. Press the active ability button too while injured to dispel any negative status effect, at the cost of suffering the deep wound status effect and a 25% mending speed penalty. Second Wind deactivates until fully healed or unhooked. Constant effects will be alleviated for 5, 10, 15 seconds. Nah, I know what you're thinking. Steve already has a perk called Second Wind. Well, since the Stranger Things license is gone, for now at least, there's a chance it might not get that name back even if the license returns. If it does, and renewal gets reverted to Second Wind, I'll go with this perk's other name, Only Human. Based on Huey's deteriorating emotional state in Season 2, this perk is named after the Billy Joel song that helps him realize that he needs to make things right with Starlight. It might not seem very practical at first, but imagine being able to completely bypass Sloppy Butcher's debuffs, or the blindness and oblivious effects from things like Hex the Third Seal and Hysteria. And when it says constant effects will be alleviated for 15 seconds, this of course refers to things like permanent effects, and effects that will not go away after a period of time. Again, a good example would be Hex the Third Seal, in that you're permanently blind for as long as the hex is up. You could bring Second Wind and a map, use Second Wind and open up that map to find out where the hex is hiding within those 15 seconds. After the time is up though, the effect will be reapplied, so you'll have to remember where the totems were, if you saw any that is. A bad example would be to use it for the exposed stats effect, as you would still only be able to take one hit unless you have like a super medkit that heals you instantly, but how often is that going to happen, right? And since you have to be injured in order for it to work, I didn't want to just let you use it over and over, so I made it so that the perk deactivates until you're fully healed. So I'd say that's pretty balanced, wouldn't you? And Huey's final perk, Blackmail. If you're going to ruin their image, you need to get some dirt on them. You see the killer's aura while opening chests. Gain a token for each open chest in the trial. Once the last generator is repaired, you see the killer's aura for 15, 20, 25 seconds per token. There is no maximum amount of tokens. I don't really have much to say about this perk, other than the fact that unlike Remote Bomb, which I had to change around 5 to 6 times, Blackmail has been unchanged since I came up with it. A simple information perk that allows for great plays in the endgame, as well as another incentive to bring coin offerings other than challenges. It also makes scratched and cut coins more viable for killers to use so that survivors get less value out of the perk. I did the maths too. If you stack all 4 shiny coin offerings, that gives you a total of 11 chests. And that's not all. The Twins perk, Hoarder, adds 2 extra chests to the trial, so that the maximum number of chests that can spawn on trial right now is 13. 25 seconds, 13 times, that's 5 minutes and 25 seconds, in case you were wondering what the absolute limit this perk can be pushed to was. It's not often that you get a strong information perk like this, but the fact that it has decent counterplay from undetectable killers to perks like Hoarder and another perk we'll be going over later, makes me think that it could potentially shake up the meta a little bit. Probably. So, that was Huey's perks. Now let's move on to our second survivor, Kimiko Miyashiro. Stolen from her family and forced to work for a terrorist organization, Kimiko was pumped full of Compound V and was given superhuman abilities that allow her to tear through flesh and bone effortlessly and heal fatal wounds in seconds. Being the only soup in the boys, she protects them by fighting the bigger fights while the others work more on distraction techniques and fighting dirty. How many times can you say fighting in one sentence, huh? Her personal perks, Silent Assassin, Regeneration, and Moncoeur, allow her to keep up with even the biggest of bullies while still protecting those who cannot do so themselves. Silent Assassin. You are as quiet as a mouse with the force of a truck. When within 5 meters of a pallet, Silent Assassin activates. Your breathing, grunts of pain, and footsteps become silent. Stunning the killer with a pallet will instantly break that pallet. The killer is stunned for an extra 3, 4, 5 seconds. Upon a successful stun, you suffer the exhaustion status effect for 40 seconds. This perk would be used more for looping, as you'd be basically undetectable when near a pallet, so if a killer doesn't have line of sight on you, it'll be fairly easy for you to play mind games with them, especially at taller loops on maps like Yamaoka Estate. I'm sure people are just going to use this to camp pallets anyway, but I'd like to think this perk could be used more skillfully than that. It is also worth pointing out that this perk is very similar to Smash Hit, in that it's an exhaustion perk that utilizes a pallet to help you gain distance in a chase. But given that it does something different, it'd be nice to think of this more as another anti-tunnel perk, with the hope that the extended stun duration, putting it up to 7 seconds, provided they don't have stun duration shortening perks, would make the killer not bother chasing you anymore. Unless that's just wishful thinking on my part. Man, do killers like to tunnel. Regeneration. Your bones snap back into place. Your skin weaves itself back together. It's time for round 2. Gain 3 tokens for every generator completed, up to a maximum of 15 tokens. After losing a health state while in a chase, consume a token every 12, 9, 6 seconds. Each token is equal to 20% of a full heal. Tokens will not be consumed after a health state is healed until injured again. Tokens will be consumed until a health state is restored or until the chase is over. Again, an anti-tunnel perk because the game so far doesn't punish it enough. This perk makes it so that if you're in a chase, you can get healed by 1 health state in 30 seconds at tier 3, rewarding those who can hold their own in a chase for that amount of time. Since it takes 5 tokens to get a full health state, it does mean that at least 2 gens need to be completed before you're able to get the full value out of this perk. But that doesn't mean the extra healing progress is worth nothing, especially in our current medkit meta. And finally, Moncoeur. Kindness is a rarity to you. Don't take it for granted. The first survivor to be hooked is granted your support. You see your support's blue aura at all times. Taking a protection hit for your support activates Moncoeur's secondary function. While active, grants your support the Endurance status effect for 20, 25, 30 seconds. And it grants your support 150% movement speed increase for 3, 4, 5 seconds. If your support is carried by the killer while you take a protection hit, the killer suffers the hindered status effect for 3 seconds. Damn, I didn't realize that I made all of Kimiko's perks anti-tunnel perks until just now. Oh well, don't tunnel then, I guess. That aside, this perk is very similar to the reworked We're Gonna Live Forever, in that it mainly focuses on helping others at your own risk, but with great risk come great rewards. Not only would you get your however many blood points from the protection hit, but when you take the hit, your support basically gets sprint burst and borrowed time. Originally I had this perk work randomly, like the obsession mechanic, but then I realized that if everyone brought it, it would be chaos. Now only one person can be granted support, and that is the unlucky survivor that got hooked first. Of course, it's entirely possible that the survivor is you and you're the only one running this perk, meaning that the whole perk slot has been wasted, But, oh well, I mean, Deliverance still exists. And that's it for the Survivor perks. I hope they sound like fun to you, and I really hope you consider using them in your Survivor games of Dead by Daylight. Let me know if you would use them and what other perks you would pair with them in the comments. Now that we're done with this chapter's survivors, we move on to the next portion of the video, the killer. Donning a heroic outfit, complete with a patriotic cape, Homelander fronts this universe's version of the Justice League, the Seven. As the show progresses, we learn more about him, how he wasn't actually chosen by God or born with his powers, but instead grew up in a lab and was pumped full of Compound V, a special experimental serum that grants humans superpowers. Growing up without parents or an actual childhood has done some real emotional and mental damage to him. And now that he's in the spotlight as the strongest man in the world, it's all going straight to his head. He can do anything he wants because people love him. Or is it because they're scared of him? The latter usually seems to be the case, since he often loses those he considers closest to him by being controlling and manipulative of them if they try to leave. And so we have our killer for this chapter, the Homelander. I'll talk about his power and add-ons, even cosmetics, since this is a licensed concept, so why not have some fun with it? He walks at 4.6 meters a second, and has a 32 meter terror radius, and is listed as tall, despite actually being shorter than Huey in the show. His main ability is the power of flight. Press the power button to start flying. This allows you to float over objects and walls, even pallets and windows. Pressing the power button while in flight will cause the Homelander to descend. When flying, Homelander's movement speed is reduced to 3.68 meters per second, the same as Dredge or Wesker when they have their powers charged. You're probably thinking, but Swan, Homelander can fly at super high speeds in the show, which is true, but do remember that the entity likes to keep things fair. I mean, this is a game where Michael fucking Myers is often considered one of the weakest killers. He has a special attack called Hero Landing. While flying, press the basic attack button to perform a hero landing that slams into the ground, or into survivors. I feel this is similar to Wesker's Virulent Bound, mixed with a bit of anti-loop. And a lot of people say that anti-loop killers aren't fun, but similar to when Wesker misses his bound, Homelander will be unable to move for 3 seconds after performing a hero landing, whether it was a hit or a miss, without any add-ons that is. I hope that this would balance out the seemingly helpless feeling you get when fighting against an anti-loop killer. Secondary ability, Laser Vision. Press and hold the active ability button while standing still for 5 seconds to charge up Laser Vision. Any survivors caught by these deadly beams will be put in the dying state instantly. Any drop pallets or breakable walls caught by the beams will be destroyed. Laser Vision lasts 7 seconds, after which Homelander is light burned for 5 seconds. While using Laser Vision, Homelander is more susceptible to being blinded. However, being blinded does not cancel Laser Vision. Laser Vision has a cooldown of 30 seconds. Okay, yeah, I confess that having a ranged insta-down could potentially be a problem. Hold your head! Oh god, sorry. Yeah, I'm just recovering from a cold, you know, Christmas and such. But yeah, anyway, the whole point of the laser ability is that it's a high-risk, high-reward move. If you're able to use it well, your matches will go way smoother and probably look pretty impressive, similar to a well-trained hillbilly. But if you mistime it or you don't get value out of it, you very well could lose yourself the game. The high risk, of course, is based on the fact that Homelander in the show very clearly suffers when he uses laser beams. There are many scenes in which it looks like he has to calm himself down just to stop using it, and that is where this overheat effect comes in. Okay, so let's talk about his add-ons, starting with his common brown add-ons. These are fairly simple, but they can be kind of boring, so I'll go through them quite quickly, just so that we don't spend too much time on it. The Patriotic Cape allows you to see the target location of hero landing, so you know where you'll end up, much like the nurse's plaid flannel and the Blight's chipped monocle. The Tracking Chip will increase your movement speed while flying by 5%, so you'll go from 3.68 meters per second to 3.86 meters per second. Homelander's Blood Red Boots reduce the time he spends recovering from hero landing by 0.5 seconds, making his recovery last 2.5 seconds instead of 3. And the final brown add-on is the Flight 37 video. Footage of a terrorist attack gone wrong used by Queen Maeve to blackmail Homelander, or else the world would see what a monster he truly is. This add-on makes it so that survivors that are hit with laser vision are only damaged for a single health state, but they have their aura revealed for 5 seconds, as well as rewarding you an extra 300% more blood points for the laser vision score events. A meme add-on that could have potential when used correctly. Alright, swiftly moving on to his uncommon add-ons, we have the Homelander Portrait, which decreases laser vision recharge time by 15%, thereby making it 25.5 seconds instead of 30. Vought Tournament of Heroes, a copy of the game in which Homelander is the main character. With this, survivors hit by hero landing suffer the mangled status effect. The Empty Can, an empty can that was thrown at Homelander's son, Ryan, by a heckler who was promptly dealt with. Increases laser vision charge speed by 20%, making it 4 seconds instead of 5. Alex's Remains, the only one inside Vought that Starlight could trust, needed to be put in his place. Survivors hit by hero landing suffered the hemorrhage status effect. And finally, a bloodied FBI badge from when they attempted to ambush Homelander in Becca's safe house. Increases the amount of time laser vision can be used before being light burned by 2 seconds, making the maximum 7 seconds. Next up, the rare add-ons. These are the ones that will start making people switch up their playstyle once they notice you have them. If they notice, that is. Lamplighter's Charred Remains. Decreases the light burn duration after overusing laser vision by 1.5 seconds, making it 3.5 seconds instead of 5. Stormfront's Photo. An old image of Stormfront with her daughter. Survivors caught within 5 meters of a hero landing will suffer the hindered status effect for 5 seconds. Dawn of the Seven Movie. An origin story about how the Seven were formed by Homelander and his friends. Descending from power of flight grants a 2.5% haste status effect for 3 seconds. Clump of Ashley's hair. Performing a hero landing onto a drop pallet will destroy it. Compound V. Decreases laser vision recharge time by 30%, making it 21 seconds instead of 30, 16.5 seconds when combined with the Homelander Portrait add-on. Alright, now we're on the very rare add-ons. These ones can be literal game changers, the very difference between a 4-man escape and a 4K. Black Noir's Helmet. Survivors caught within 5 meters of a hero landing have their aura revealed for 3 seconds. The milk bottle grants you the undetectable status effect while using the power of flight. Translucence Remains. Found by a dolphin inside a zinc box in the river. Increases movement speed when flying by 10% for a whopping 4.04 meters per second. 4.24 meters per second when combined with the tracking chip. Dawn of the Seven Poster. A full art poster for the Dawn of the Seven movie. Increases the maximum duration of laser vision by 7 seconds, making it 14 seconds or 16 seconds with the 2-second bloodied FBI badge add-on. And here we are, the ultra rare add-ons, the ones that often make survivors tremble in fear. You're going to want to bring a black ward for these ones, and not just because they're expensive. The Baby Blue Blanket, the only somewhat normal remnant of Homelander's childhood. This add-on makes it so that laser vision will only injure survivors. However, those lasers can now go through walls for up to 24 meters, and the recharge time on laser vision is decreased by 50%, making it 15 seconds. Here's the catch though, laser vision can no longer be cancelled, meaning that every time you press the active ability button, you have to eat a 5-second light burn. I feel this could change up many matches, be hated by many and equally as loved. And finally, we have the iridescent Compound V, a shimmering vial of Compound V gifted to Homelander by the Entity. It allows laser vision to be used in the air during power of flight. You could use this to fake a hero landing, or just as a good way to zone survivors out. Maybe even save it until the end of the game as a big surprise to any survivors who think they know what you're going to do. Well, which ones would you use? I think I'd like to use the flight speed and undetectable add-ons to get the jump on unsuspecting survivors who aren't watching the skies. Be honest, did you skip to this part after ignoring the add-ons? You know, I put a lot of time and effort into coming up with those and... No, it's fine. Not everyone cares about add-ons, but everyone knows that the perks are where it's at, right? Let's see if these ones will change up your build or even the meta as a whole. Homelander's personal perks, Celebrity Persona, Super Psycho, and The Only Man in the Sky make sure that those beneath him shall never rise up, and those above him will one day kneel before him. Fat chance. First, we have Celebrity Persona. You're the main man in the spotlight. You have an image to maintain, and you're not going to let anyone get in your way. Upon hooking a survivor, Gain 1 to 3 tokens, depending on the tier of the perk, up to a maximum of 12. When a survivor reads your aura, you see theirs too, at the cost of 1 token every 5 seconds. Tokens only affect the duration of the aura reading and are consumed based on time, not the number of auras read. If the person on the hook is running Kindred, it'll show everyone's aura for 5 seconds if you are near the hook. So it's kinda like a free barbecue and chili. This was the perk I hinted at before when talking about Huey's perk Blackmail. Imagine a survivor seeing your aura in the endgame, and you can see them for most of it too. You'd be able to know if they're running it too because it would activate when they open a chest, so you can prepare for the endgame. It adds a nice counterplay to things like Kindred mind games as well. I don't know, I'm just throwing stuff out there at this point. I was writing this at 1:15 in the morning. Please be nice to me. His second perk is called Super Psycho. You're the strongest in the world and it's all going to your head. Start the trial with a plus 50% penalty to pallet stun durations. Each time you are stunned by a pallet, gain a token, up to a total of 10. For each token, your stun duration is decreased by 7.5%. This doesn't stack with enduring, and tokens are gained after recovering from the stun, not after taking it.
There's always been so many things I want to do, and now I can do them all, finally. No one can stop me. Nobody. I'm free at last. Free at last.
A pallet stun usually lasts 2 seconds. This perk makes it so that at 0 tokens, they last 3 seconds, and at 10 tokens, they last 0.5 seconds, which is faster than enduring. It's pretty much a killer's autodidact. You start with a penalty, but you get better as you go. Combine it with stuff like Hubris or Spirit Fury, and you'll be unstoppable. It also pays homage to the way Homelander deals with setbacks and troubles in the show. It gets to him at first, when he used to care, but later down the line, he stops caring. He stops thinking about others, and he doesn't let anything stand in his way. And Homelander's third and final perk is called the Only Man in the Sky. They think a higher power exists, but you know that there's nobody more powerful than you. Gain a 1%, 1.5%, or 2% haste status effect whenever the entity interferes with the trial, such as blocking windows, struggle state survivors on hooks, blocking generators, etc. This effect has a 60-second cooldown.
No God. The only man in the sky is me.
I kinda love the idea of this perk. It's the ultimate irony and it perfectly represents Homelander. Claiming he's the strongest when it's actually the entity pulling all the strings feels kind of poetic in a way, I don't know. This perk would stack with other entity calling perks in theory, things like Deadlock, Bamboozle, and Dead Man's Switch, but the effects would never stack due to the cooldown that begins when the perk is deactivated. Whether you use it to catch up to a survivor who vaulted a window 3 times and still has a pallet left, or if you're racing towards a Deadlock gen, it could definitely make for some devastating builds. Now, normally I'd end the video here and plug my Twitch, but because this is a licensed chapter concept, I figured why not have some fun with it and give you some unrealistic legendary and bloody prestige cosmetic ideas that I think would suit a chapter like this perfectly. Huey could have legendaries for Billy Butcher, MM, and Frenchie. Kimiko could have legendaries for Starlight and Queen Maeve, while Homelander would have a Stormfront legendary, complete with lightning effects for flying and laser eyes. I think they'd be pretty cool, plus it would fit the game perfectly to have a 4-man swift of Huey, Billy, MM, and Frenchie bullying a poor Homelander main. That would be a wonderful sight. And obviously their prestige cosmetics would look like these pictures of Huey, Kimiko, and Homelander respectively, as a great homage to the show. I also wasn't sure where to put this, but the map idea that I have would be the set for the Dawn of the Seven movie, with the buildings all crumbled and like the cameras set up and the lighting, and it would just be like a false disaster, like a man-made tragedy, which is kind of what Homelander is and kind of represents. I don't know, it's whatever. It would be an outdoor map. That would be a plus, I guess, right? And with that, we are at the end of the video. Let me know what you thought in the comments, and tell me if you would like to see a chapter for the boys in Dead by Daylight. If you like this video, then please click the little thumbs up and share it online with your friends and such, as that really helps me, as well as subscribing to my channel and hitting the little bell icon. That way, when I upload a video, you'll be the first one to see it. Also, follow my Twitch channel where I live stream Dead by Daylight Monday to Thursday from 7:30 PM to 10 PM UK time. Growing on Twitch is really hard, so it would genuinely mean a lot to me to see you there. They're usually pretty fun times. So once again, Thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I shall see you in my next video. See ya!